Hey there. Welcome, civilians. You've arrived at the home of civilized and thought-provoking commentary. Get ready for elevation, growth, and experience. I am the civilized woman.
Hello, civilians. Welcome back. We have another segment of wrapping up the week. Well, this past week has been a bombshell one for sure. Unless you've been living under a rock, Diddy headlines has dominated the week. I did do a separate video about Diddy's indictment, but it's been quite the saga, so of course there's more news. TMZ actually released the arrest video. There's an unauthorized book, quote-unquote, by Kim Porter. Celebrities surrounding Diddy like Usher and Ray J seem to be on damage control by cleaning up their social media. That's Usher. Usher cleaned up his Twitter, so anything involving Diddy, he's cleaned that up. And then after Diddy's arrest, and during an interview Ray J had with Chris Cuomo, he talked about how this is not the experience he's had of him, and they're all very shocked, yada yada yada. But the shocker is that Diddy's longtime PR person, Natalie Moore, quit after his arrest. The entertainment world is indeed shaken up by the whole Diddy debacle. Diddy news will continue to trickle down, so I'm going to go ahead and attach that video that I did about his indictment. So in other Diddy news, which I referenced earlier, an unauthorized book called Kim's Last Word was released. This is only 60 pages, and it's been touted as frivolous fictitious by singer and father of Kim Porter's oldest son, Quincy, Al B. Sure. The Night and Day singer has vehemently denied the allegations and threatens to sue. Quote, well, he uploaded several IG posts that I'm going to go ahead and read following the release of the book. Quote, it has come to my attention that these persons were also instructed to steal her computer and fabricate bullish, to be precise, and offensive pages circulated via Amazon which depict graphic sexual acts involving me that never, and that's in all caps, took place and were edited and added after Miss Porter's tragic murder. He continued. Sure wanted to make it clear that he didn't get down like that. He also called for an investigation into Kim Porter's case and outlined the circumstances that landed him in the hospital where he almost lost his life, and what he deemed as a PR and conspirator, who are working to distract from Porter's case, and said his hospitalization was due to organ failures of several of his organs. And he really believed that this was an attack on his life, and they was trying to take him out. So Al B. Sure was a part of the original star of Uptown, formerly of Uptown Records, which went out of business a long time ago. So you had Andre Harrell, you had Kim Porter, you had Diddy, you had Heavy D, and then you had Al B. Sure. The only other person that is still living off that list is Al B. Sure and Diddy. And he believes that it was intentional. So had he passed away when he had the organ failures, then Diddy would have been the last man standing from that Uptown era. And I know Mary J. Blige was kind of an artist on there as well, but from the starting of it, it was those individuals that I noted earlier. So that's where he's coming from, and he mentioned that before. So he reported claims that the laptop and phone. The laptop and the phone are with the feds, And I doubt that if they're with the feds, they're for sure part of evidence. I think that's part of the evidence that they have against Diddy. So for sure, that's not just gonna be released. So I don't know how. There's no doubt there's probably some truth to this unauthorized book, but I don't know how much detail they would have been able to have if it's only reportedly 60 pages, and you have somebody who knew Kim intimately saying that they're lying and even going as far as threatening to sue. So that is you can really see the pain in the people who really knew and loved Kim Porter and their feelings about how she died, and it being unsolved, everybody having the suspicion of who they think is behind it. And it's clear that the people that loved her are still in mourning. That's her children. That's friends of hers, former lovers. They're really mourning her. And all the best to Al B. Short and all of those who are still mourning Kim's loss and are looking forward to, and I am looking forward to them getting justice on her behalf. And may that be granted. Well, the week started off with the news of a key Jackson 5 member, guitarist Tito Jackson, passing on Sunday, September 15th in New Mexico after suffering a heart attack. His sons, 3 T members, Taj, TJ, and Terrell, and his remaining brothers that are also part of the Jackson 5 made statements regarding Tito's passing. A little known fact, at least a little known to me, is that he was the reason that the Jackson 5 group even started in the first place. At 10 years old, Tito was caught playing his father Joe's guitar after he broke the string. After fixing the string, Joe demanded that he play for him. Once he was finished, Joe bought him his own guitar and convinced Tito, Jackie, and Jermaine to form a singing group. He was impressed with the vocals of Jackie and Jermaine. By 1964, Marlon and Michael both joined the group, the Jackson 5, after their mother, Catherine, discovered that they could sing, and the rest is history. R.I.P. Tito. Condolences to the family for this tremendous loss. Well, the week was not complete without news, without another Jackson being in the news. Janet Jackson, in an interview published on Sunday, September 21st, with the Telegraph, a British publication, she was asked her thoughts about VP and presidential candidate Kamala Harris being the first black female president. Jackson responded, "She's not black. That's what I heard. That she's Indian. I was told that they discovered her father was white." At this point, the internet has been in an uproar. Janet has been criticized for her statements. An apology was published the day after, on Sunday, September 22nd, on Janet's behalf. A man claiming to be Jackson's manager issued an apology on her behalf to BuzzFeed, but her team confirmed that he was not her manager. Jackson's team, however, clarified later on Sunday night that the apology was made by someone who is not her manager and was not authorized to speak on her behalf. And actually, from what I understand, her brother Randy has been her manager for a long time, and they're super close. So that individual no longer works on Jackson's team. And The View, D.L. Hughley, and the internet has completely roasted Janet, but there are many who have come to her aid, or at least don't see an issue with her statement, or don't see it as being malicious. I know the negative against it has been at least uninformed and most quote unquote dangerous or damaging. And people, I think part of what bothered me is that people didn't just express their opinion with what she said with facts. They went to attacking her brother Michael, who has passed away, on both of their looks. And I'm not going to include that in there because that was just really nasty, in my opinion. This is particularly D.L. Hughley, and even some other people. So I don't think that was okay. So now, that being said, I definitely have an unpopular opinion, but it is what it is. I believe that Janet has a right to her opinion, firstly, but the claim on the VP's racial makeup is not exclusive to Janet. So what Janet has said is not exclusive to her. People on the streets are saying it. Obviously, President Trump as well had mentioned something about it. Former President Trump had mentioned something about it. In my humble opinion, to be honest, it should not be relevant to anything. The only thing we should care about is her policies, regardless of her racial makeup. It is not relevant. It is inconsequential as far as I'm concerned. I don't know why that is something that people are harping on. To the VP's team's credit, they have not really come out and said anything or fed into this at all, which I honestly think is a good thing. I don't think that there's so many other things that she could be focused on. I don't think that she needs to rehash that topic. But I will say, allegedly, there have been reports that her father doesn't claim to have any black ancestry. Even on her birth certificate, reportedly, he is listed as being Indian Irish. Based on that, it does not appear to me that Janet was parroting talking points, but simply stating what she had heard. Janet has been a superstar and very wealthy for most of her life. In my opinion, she is not as affected as the rest of us, depending on who occupies the White House, and honestly likely does not pay attention to politics. No matter who wins, it's pretty much business for her as usual. It also bears mentioning that her family is dealing with the loss of their brother Tito right now, and this whole controversy is likely not even on her radar. In my opinion, we need to give her grace. At least she's being honest and not pretending to be in the know. Lastly, the last story for this week's wrap-up is Tia and Tamara Housley now, but Mari. Both sisters are maiden name Mari. Of course, Tia is back to that maiden name. In her new WE tv reality series called Tia Mari, My Next Act, Tia 46 made the confession in a preview and this is a preview of the reality show that was on WE, that is on WE, and the preview is also on WE, that she and her twin sister Tamara Housley are not so close. Per a New York Post article, Tia Mari revealed that she's grown distance from her twin sister since Tamara Mari Housley. I added the Housley because that is her married name, and I believe her name is hyphenated. Following her divorce from Corey Hardrick. Now, Corey Hardrick is Tia's ex-husband. They have 2 children together. I believe a 13-year-old and a 13-year-old boy and a 5-year-old girl, if I'm not mistaken. I'm right on the genders, not 100% on the age. So there's a quote from Tia. I came into the world with a twin, and right after that, I went into a 22-year relationship, so I have never been alone in my life. It has been quite a journey, she said in the teaser released on Friday for this reality show. Being alone, further goes on to say, being alone has been the most challenging part of my divorce, added Tia, who was split from Hardrick, who's 44, in 2022 after 14 years of marriage. They finalized their marriage last year. The Post did reach out to Tia and Tamara's rep to get a comment regarding Tia's statement that she and her sister are not so close. A source told People that Tia's comments about Tamara 46 were in reference to them living far apart. The sisters are still close, but the quote being referenced was about the lack of proximity in their physical location. Tamera lives in Napa and Tia lives in Los Angeles, said the insider. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Napa is like north, really north, and then obviously LA is south, and that's a big distance. California is a big state, so there's that. Back in May, Tamera told Entertainment Tonight that she was not given a heads up about her sister's new next reality show. She, quote, "I didn't know until I found out with the rest of the world," Tamera said. When asked if she would be on the show, Tamera replied, "She didn't ask me, so I take that as no." She's like, "This is my story, and I can only respect that," Tamera added. Okay. So we've gone through those two statements, right, from the rep saying that it was Tia's statement was in reference to proximity and not with their physical location. And then you have Tamera saying, "Oh, I didn't even know that she had a new reality show. I found out with the rest of y'all." Now, if they are still as close as she's saying, why would she not tell her sister about the new reality show? Why would that be a detail that she would not let her sister know about? That doesn't make any sense if they're still that close. And her statement and Tia's statement in her preview was only about the physical distance and not maybe the emotional or distance between the two of them, because this honestly they have lived that distance for years. Tamera has been in Napa for years. Tia has been in LA for years. So that distance has always been. So why now would she feel the need to mention that if it wasn't causing an actual distance or lack of closeness in their emotional relationship, whether how often they speak with each other, how often they see each other? So that didn't make sense to me at all. Not to mention, we also live in a world with these little devices that we have in our hand that's able to text, that's able to call, that's able to FaceTime, that's able to Skype, that's able to Teams, with a barrage of options of being able to connect with people that you are not in physical space with. So there really should be no problem for them to not be close. Not to mention, they can take flights to see each other. So I'm kind of like, what gives in that? I definitely think that when Tia said that she was not referencing physical distance, we have to remember that these sisters, even though they are twins and they came out the same womb and they are genetically identical, they are very different people. Tia comes across as very, very liberal, very goofy, just a little lighter, and Tamera comes across as being more conservative and just more straight-laced than her sister Tia. I think too, there is this talk that goes on that Tia is quote unquote the black twin and Tamera is quote unquote the white twin, kind of lessening Tamera's blackness, which I honestly don't think is fair. They're both biracial. They both have the same father, the same mother. And I don't really like the idea that we are putting a descriptor on blackness. Like blackness is a monolith, so it can only be one thing. And I don't think that's fair. And to my recollection, I've never really seen Tia kind of stand up for her sister when people say things like that about her, or if they disagree with what Tamera has said, and they categorize her as this or that, and they talk about, her husband being, a racist. Whereas Tamera always seems to publicly speak on her sister's behalf when she's going through something, or if for some whatever reason people are kind of clowning what she's doing on social media. I feel like Tamera stands up for her a little bit more. And I think the reason why that is because I feel like Tamera has an understanding of the twin brand that they have. Although they do individual things and they have gone on to do individual things, that twin brand, no doubt, is still prevalent. Is no doubt that people are wanting to still work with them. And the reality is, despite all of this, they are really two of the least problematic people you can find in the entertainment and in Hollywood. So I think that still garners work for them, and I think that people want to have them, that because it's such a rarity to have twins. And so there's a, for the lack of a better word, gimmick there that can be easily monetized. So I think that people want to be able to still tap into that. I think the problem is that a lot of and I don't know if you guys remember, but they had this reality show on a few years ago, and Tia was Tamera's maid of honor. Now Tia was extra pregnant. She looked like she could have dropped that baby at any moment. And so she couldn't do the duties that Tamera was able to do for her when Tia was getting married. And so Tamera asked her best friend Andrea to take that place for her, and Tia felt a way about it. And Tamera was kind of like, well, it just seemed like you didn't want to be a part of it. It just gave that Tia kind of felt like her needs needed to be above everyone else. Now, I think everybody understands that she is pregnant, which is why I didn't understand why she felt the way when Tamera got her best friend to take her place. Tamera obviously wanted the same thing reciprocated. She understood that Tia could not be there for her, and so she got somebody else to play that position. I don't think that should have been that big of a deal. The same way you wanted her to understand that you were pregnant should have been the same way that you understood that she had to get someone else to fill that role, because she got that you couldn't do all of that she wanted you to do. So it seemed very much that Tamera was always making the concession in the sister relationship. She always kind of had to be the one to curtail to what Tia wanted. And it's very interesting too, because they pretty much played each other in Sister Sister. If you guys remember that show, one of my faves from back in the day, Tamera was the kind of loose one, the kind of laissez-faire, not go with the flow, not very serious, and Tia was a very straight-laced one, and so it's kind of shocking to find out that in real life they were quite the opposite. And so I think that, going back to the twin brands, I think that Tamera tries to protect that at all costs, because she does understand that is still their brand. That's why she was like, no, Tia meant, physical distance, not emotional. That's all she means. We just live in different parts of California and it's really far away, and that's all she meant, because she understood if it is showing that they are not on the same page, or if they don't get along, then that could endanger their ability to get work. I think even the individual work they get is based on the fact that they are part of a twin. That's a unique thing that can be drawn upon. So I think that Tamera just wants to keep that intact, and their family, they love each other. I'm sure their family seems to be very, very close knit. So I think it's just very important to her to kind of keep that image kind of together. I think that Tia is in this phase right now. I mean, she went and talked about how she pretty much had never been alone, and so now she's trying to find herself, but she is lonely and she misses being with somebody. And I can completely understand that if you spend most of your life not being alone, especially those formative years where you do get to know yourself and you get to understand yourself, you have a piece of your own soul. When you add somebody to your life, you understand what they're bringing, and they're not going to disrupt the good things that you have going on. But I don't know that it's. I think she probably should still take some time to keep getting to know herself, because she seems to really be in a place of, like, she probably doesn't regret it, but that's what it comes across as, that she regrets going through with the divorce. There's clearly a reason why she decided to do that and to change her children's life, what they were used to. So if there was a reason for that, then she needs to explore that more so she can know the next time she goes into a relationship, she's going in there as somebody who has learned from this past experience and can be the better for it. I know she gets clowned a lot and people make fun of her antics on the internet, but honestly she just comes across as she's just trying to find herself. So I really hope that the sisters really get on the same page. Obviously, they each need to have their own boundary. They are completely different people with different philosophies. I'm not sure if the advice that Tamera would give Tia, she would adhere to, because they're so different. And Tia is in this different space in her life. I don't know. I'd be curious to know. I don't know how long it's been since they've been not as close as Tia would say it, but I don't know if this divorce, did she even talk to her sister about it beforehand? Did her sister know the depths of what was going on in that situation, and how did she try to guide her or advise her, or was she just there for her, or did she not even talk to her about this at all? I think that if she hadn't even broached this with her at all, that definitely will call into question their closeness as sisters. So we're going to just hope that they get on the same page. They seem to be a loving family, and that they respect each other and understand that even though one may be going through what seems to be a little bit more traumatic right now, and that would be Tia, does not mean that she cannot be there for her sister. She should not be looking for her sister Tamera to be there for her, just for her to dump on her and not be concerned about what's going on in Tamera's life, because Tamera also has a life as well, and she has things going on there. So hopefully there would be a balance and a mutual respect, love, and support of each other, and not one looking for the other to bear all their burdens and they don't give them anything in return. So we love the sisters. We want them to get back on the same page, be loving sisters, to work with each other, and to I'm trying to think the last time they did a project together. But anyway, that then concludes the 5 viral stories that I deemed worthy of being on another segment of Wrapping Up the Week. Until next time.
Please like, comment, share, and don't forget to subscribe. Thank you.